Then one of them, oh, you know, that's stuff. I'm like,
but she was really the way it is.
Yeah.
She was the only one there, so, because I lived with her, when we stayed together. So that was it. And, she was the only one there. The sisters, they may have had their own story, but that was where I got my first one. Because you went from, when my mom was working, and my grandparents was working, and we went to the great aunt. Because we had the cousins in and stuff, but she was the one that told all the stories, and so that's how you got to hear, learn the language and stuff.
Now, do you remember having encyclopedias?
Oh, gosh,
yes. We had encyclopedias back then. The whole set.
Well, my parents had to buy theirs when the new ones came out. They bought the old ones from the school.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We still have a set.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. I thought that of those.
Yeah, I just even it was in the library, probably.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I grew up in the Midwest.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know what, like, I hear you guys talk about the, and I know how Florida is. I didn't know that way. Where I grew up was 100 miles out of Chicago. We just moved to
Everybody got to be ready to laugh. One woman in here, this is number 10. We have a like, Mama, look at the child wants to, but it doesn't make it, and we don't want you to look, but okay. She was so cute. Like I said, like so we talking about books. And I had one of my favorites, like we went to the cowboy, and we, you know, the Indians. When he was the first grade, he didn't go to that game with him.
Oh, you feel bad because the kid is there.
Not on my financial need,
Right. Did you get those?
I'll do it, though. That's why. I'll do it, though.
Thank you.
I had 3 of them for the granddad. While I went to school. They used to read newspapers every day.
Okay, sweetie, what are we
So you
doing?
start with the gel, which is just like mascara,
Oh.
and you coat, and I'll show you on my eyes too. And then you take the green tea fiber leaves, which is the fiber, you add it to the gel, and that's what gives you your volume and your length. You reset it with your gel again. Yeah. And then you can go as long or as thick as you want.
Wow. Now tell me again, these stripes on your arm. I know you.
These are some samples of our eyeliner and lip liner in the different colors.
And I remember you did like that, and it didn't
They
come
were
off.
smudge proof.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Okay, let me watch you. You're gonna do an eye. You going in the
so
mirror?
I'm gonna do one eye. And what I try to do is show you the difference. So, apply the gel. Bonding to hold the fibers.
Oh.
And if you're in a real big hurry, it's just like any other mascara. You don't have to add the fibers if you don't want to. Let's just say you're like, you know what, I just need to get this mascara on and be out the door. Or you're running late and you're doing it in the car real fast. Then you you wait a few seconds just like I did, and then you add the fibers.
Wow.
And you see how you get.
There's an eye.
Yeah. Amazing. And this is just one coat. So you can imagine, I mean, I'm 50. I do 1 to 2 layers just for everyday use.
Oh my goodness.
But if you're going out at night, or you know you're going to be out for a significant period of time, or you're going to be running around, and you want to get them really, really long, I just like people to know I have eyelashes. And then when you're sealing it with the gel, so you do gel, fiber gel, that makes sure
So you actually
You don't get any flyaways.
and you got lashes without having to do falsies.
No falsies, no damage,
No glue.
no irritation. It's naturally based, so you don't have allergies that creep in or anything. And then if you really want to accent the length, you go on the outer half of your eyelash,
Oh my goodness.
and you can build.
I see.
Again, this is about as long as I go. Now I have on Saturday nights when we're going to events or concerts, I've done them longer because I want to be noticed.
Now how can you do them longer?
You just add, so what you do is just add the gel to the outer half of the eyelash.
So the mascara just keeps sticking onto the gel.
Yep, and then the fibers
Oh.
give you more length, more length, and you build.
Oh my goodness.
And
She was still very fair, but she said 40 years ago, she was the color, she looked like the tablecloth back then. So she said her mama sure had something to deal with. She said her mother told anyone that approached her and asked her, "Ooh, you got this little pretty little bright-skinned kid and you got this little dark-skinned kid." She said her mother would say, "Hold up, honey.
Yeah.
Don't make a difference between my children. These are my children. That's my daughter. That's my son. My daughter's gonna have a hard enough time." She said she stopped them dead in their tracks every time. And she said that same person never approached her again and asked her anything about her children. So she said that was the advice she gave in her column. So we were very, very tickled with that story.
I think, thanks, Larissa. I think the coolest thing about the advice column and getting the advice is, like I said earlier, it feels like you're learning from somebody other than your mother and father, other than the teacher. It makes a difference. But then, when you try to incorporate what grandpa and uncles have taught you about reading in the paper, to what we're seeing on TV, to what we're hearing about, and now with technology, we don't even have to know how to spell, because the spell checker and the text message will just, you know, I've got young people around me that will say, "Yeah, appreciate it. And when I say, "I appreciate you too," they look at me like Primrose is looking at me. What's she talking about? You know, it's just because I got to hear them letters in there. But okay, we're talking about literacy. We've learned to write. We've learned to read. We've learned to understand. We've learned that there are some gaps in the system. How do we learn to improve? How do we get 5, 6 master and doctorate degrees like Dr. Primrose? And how do we get to the point where we've published 4, 5, 6 different books like Charlene? How do we learn to fine tune it? It's one thing to cook and it's one thing to be a chef. So I would like Charlene to kind of talk a little bit about editing, fine-tuning, correcting the spelling. Maybe if we can correct some of the spelling, we can then open up the dialogue that, oh, this child can't read. How do we look at editing as a way to build literacy, Charlene?
Everything starts with a mindset, because I get to tell my story, but I don't remember having the love of reading installed in me. I really, say this off camera, I tell people I'm a writer, not a reader. My books are like, 40, 60 pages, so I'm not going to write a 700-page book like the ladies out there. But yeah, I was just a good student in school. Like my mom and dad never said you have to, do this and do that, do this and do that. Like me and my sister it was just a natural gift. We just did well in school. But it's a mindset, because with my daughter too, when she says, "Hey, how do you spell this?" or "What does this mean?" I say, "Look it up." But guess what? I'm saying look it up on Google. I'm not saying get a dictionary, because we have a dictionary anymore. Yeah, you can have a dictionary on your phone. If I'm driving, I'll have her write text messages for me while I'm driving. And then she'll, I'll look at it, and I'm like, where's the punctuation? Where's the question mark? Where's the exclamation point? This is a run-on sentence. And she's like, what is the text? I don't care. You're sending this out. It doesn't matter. But it's sad now, especially, and I know it's a territorial thing, because I was raised in California, and we were taught cursive writing. I know that was, back in the day, but kids don't learn that here. But I know here in Florida, it's like they're teaching the test, the Florida test. Yeah. They're not teaching reading, writing, this. And I remember my daughter, it took her a long time to learn how to tell time. Because they didn't teach us. I think it's like, right, real quick, okay, this might be on the test, so here you go. But it takes a mindset because not everybody wants to do it correctly. That's why I'm an editor, because not everybody wants to do it correctly. Some people just, well, they know what I mean.
Right.
Here you go. You know what I'm talking about.
But they don't do it.
Exactly. Even on Facebook, if you see my posts, half of them are edited. Because I'll read it, post it, I'll go back and reread it, and I'll edit it. I'm not going to I'm missing a comma. I'm missing an apostrophe. Because I care. Some people don't care. And I tell people, my friends laugh at me, if you have a post that has a typo in it, I might not like it. Because I'm like, okay, well, you spelled Jesus wrong. So I'm not going to like that. Because you ain't talking about my Jesus, you just spelled his name wrong. And it's a mindset. People just have to care. They have to care about themselves, they have to care about their children and their future. So even though the love of reading wasn't instilled in me, I read because I had to read for school. It's like, oh, I've got to read this book. I have to read it just so I can write a paper on it. But I did as little as possible just to get it done. But I'm teaching my child differently because I don't want her to grow up not liking reading or not appreciating or not wanting to do a good job.
The punctuation. We talk about that, and you touched on that, Mother. That if they're not reading, they're not getting it. And we want to be angry because the teachers didn't teach them that. But I do have a teacher in my family, and I give them credit. They have to stay in their lane. And they almost can't even come out and say, this student is doing a great job in my class, but she can't read. And so yes, I want to put blame on teachers. Yes, I want to put blame on parents. I want to blame everybody. I graduated high school in 1983. I remember there were kids that graduated with me that had college scholarships but couldn't fill out the application. Because somebody saw a potential, especially in a good man. His mama can dress him up well. So if we can just get him out of this grade to the next grade, and we just push him along. And don't let him be athletic. And don't let us girls be pretty and articulate. We can talk like white folks. They'll just pass us along any old kind of way. Any old kind of way. And then we got folks that need a GED. Belinda, you want the GED program. I got a high school diploma. I thought a GED was like the same thing as a diploma. And Ms. Belinda taught me. So tell us a little bit about, 2 seconds, about the GED program, because I got a question over here I got to ask first.
Yeah, the GED program. Is equivalency to a high school diploma. But now in today's society, they're looking at the GED more than they do the high school diploma. They're looking at the GED, I'm going to tell you this, the GED program, they're looking at it more, colleges are looking at it better than a high school diploma. Because let's say if your family is financially struggling and your child was LCAT or the Florida standard testing and they don't pass, they get a letter of completion or a diploma of completion. They still have to come to me they would have to come to me for me to tutor them for a class, or they would have to go to Daytona State and get credit. If you come to me as an educational therapist, you can get what they call school credit. You have to take class for class. What you didn't pass on that test, you would have to come to an educational psychotherapist, which is me, or you could go to Daytona State. Now the GED, either you could just go for your GED and forget it. But nowadays, a high school diploma or a GED with work experience is no good. Work experience without a high school diploma is no good. It started at the end of the beginning of 2016. Every employer is requiring that you either have, it's up to the company, but I know most companies that I deal with and that
I know of, like FedEx. Well, let's take FedEx for instance. FedEx is a high-paying company. Or UPS. My son-in-law is the vice president of FedEx. He will not even look at your application if you don't have a high school diploma. Most of these individuals at FedEx, you're just a driver who make from $15 to $16 an hour. Well, although my son-in-law is not there, he will not let the supervisor look at the application unless you have a high school diploma and 1 year working experience.
Well, there can't be that many teens or young adults that don't have.
There are a lot of, there, at the rate we're going now, is at a 50 to 60% level of the people that don't finish school. Well, the GED program used to be free. The state has granted, the taxpayers were paying for it, from the colleges to the providers like me, the private providers, but it's not free anymore because they have abused the program. The state of the governor said no more. You either pay Daytona State or you pay me. You got a choice. If you don't pay, and when you go to Daytona State, it depends on what semester it is. You have to pay for the whole semester. If you miss 3 days, you're out.
Wow.
I mean, we're going to be here all day. And,
I mean, well, not just the GED program. I remember when school was free. Now you're saying we got to pay just to get a GED, and I want just to get a GED.
You went to school and you dropped out.
What? All right. This is another excerpt from Cornbread, and this is going to help us transition over to Attorney Regina. Okay? Cornbread faces the school bully. You don't know nothing about bullying, Regina. It says, you know you're supposed to be standing by the fence. Did you do your homework last night, Shan? I did, but like I told you earlier, somebody took it off my desk. Well, I think you know what that means, she said, pointing to the fence. Tiffany grinned, and she waved at Roscoe. Just as Roscoe left, Carlos walked up. What's wrong with him? He asked, pointing over to Roscoe. He didn't do his homework. Well, he said he did it, but somebody took it. Roscoe should have known. Mrs. Robinson, the teacher, wasn't going for no kind of excuse. He was taking out his notebook. What are you doing? I'm working on my paper. Man, it's recess. Put that away. Let's race around the baseball diamond with Aretha. Okay, on your mark, get set, go. I took off faster than the cheetah, chasing prey through a mountainous terrain. Carlos didn't stand a chance against my speed. I was halfway around the field and still no Carlos in sight. Finally, I turned around just to see how far I left him in my dust, and he hadn't even moved. Carlos, what you doing? You must be crazy if you thought I was running in this 100-degree heat. Oh, you just scared of losing. Nah, I'm scared of passing out and looking like a fool laying out in the middle of the baseball field. And just as he finished his comment, he heard Miss Robinson call for the class to line up. Cornbread faces the school bully. And since lately, Cornbread has a lot on his mind. He's bothered by the fact that the gigantic 5th grade bully named Tiny wants to fight him because of what he said about him. Well, the only problem is Cornbread didn't say nothing about Tiny, so Cornbread must figure out who started this rumor while at the same time he is prepared for the showdown on Thursday. This is another Cornbread book that the Fresh Book Festival is allowing us to give away. The importance of this book shows us that a distraction can stop you from your blessing. This little fella didn't have his work done because he was focused on running around and playing. My good friend, Attorney Regina Nunnally, talks about how folks was bothering her, so she was going to learn to play karate. Not play. Excel at karate. She had some belts, whatever colors they came in, black, white, purple, green, blue. She ain't said nothing about no education. She just wasn't going to law school. She wasn't thinking about law school. Now she's going to be a judge any minute now, which means she's going to be in a black robe. And I appreciate that because she took something from bullying and put it together for those the Lord. So, Attorney Regina, can you tell us just a little bit about the importance of reading to get you through law school? We don't want to hear about you crying, because you ain't had to read when you was crying. Law school, child. There you go. We always prepared, ain't we? Law school, honey. That's just too much to read.
Good afternoon. Well, of course, you know, anytime you want to, in school, reading is 100%. It's at the top.
Yes, it is.
Because if you don't understand what the teacher's talking about, especially when you're supposed to read it before the teacher talks about it,
Right.
you will be lost. I had problems in school with reading. I was not read to. My parents didn't do all that. And I went to school, and I'm surprised I passed anyway, because I was always a grade behind when they passed me. I wanted to raise in Daytona Beach, so I went to Volusia Avenue, which is no longer there anymore. It's where the Performing Arts Center is now. Then I went to West Side, Holly Hill, and Maryland. And it wasn't until 6th grade that I really started to read. And what influenced me was my friends. And I like to tell young people, you gotta be careful who you connect to as your friends. Because they can influence you in any way. Bad, good, bad, or ugly. And I was having a hard time with reading. Back when I was in elementary school, we had these little reading drills. And in 1st grade, it was like The Dog Next Door, and then the next, it was Over the Fence. It was always some type of title. And every year, everyone had to read the same book, and then you had little workbook that you have to work out. Well, I would do that, and then some of us would cheat and write what someone else had. But it wasn't until 6th grade, my friend had this book, and I'll never forget this book. It was called Jubilee. And it was a book about this thick. And any child who looked at a book about that thick would not read it. They would be intimidated because that book is this thick. But it was crazy because my friend was reading the book and she was discussing with me and another girl in class. And it was a good book, it sounded. And the book was about a slave girl named Jubilee. And it was raw. It talked about some things in there, and we were thinking, what? This is all? And so she turned me on to it. So when she was done with it, she gave it to me. And that book was this thick. And I don't read, but it interests me. If it interests you, you read it. And so that's with anybody, child, adult. If it interests you, you're going to take the time and put the time in, and it's going to be valuable to you. So I was interested in this book, so I took this book home. Read it, and in one day, I went from this to this. Wow. So it was just that good. Wow. And then after that, I started doing more reading. So my dad bought me encyclopedias, and then next thing I knew, I was getting, my dad bought the Ebony Black History, that collection. And my dad said, they're not going to teach you this in school, so you're going to have to learn this yourself. And so I knew all about the Middle Passage and everything before we even started talking about it. During Black History Month, February, that's when we started talking about stuff. But here's the kicker. I read a lot of books. A lot. Different kind of books. So I learned about sex by reading books. Well, I learned about witchcraft by reading books. I learned a lot about the city and anything else. Because book is knowledge. And once it gets into the head, it doesn't leave. Exactly. It stays right there. So those kind of things led me into areas that I wasn't ready for. But, you know, my mom didn't know I was going to extra drugs about. And I had a bunch of books and all that. But the side effect of that is that my reading ability grew, my reading comprehension was strong. So, even though my writing sucked a toe.
Right.
I mean, my writing was terrible. So reading and writing don't always go together. You have to practice both.
Exactly.
It really wasn't until I got to junior college. That's when my writing got better.
Okay.
I took a entrance exam or whatever it is, and they, I don't know, the word is, they try to figure out placement. And I did well in my reading, but I did terrible in my math, I did terrible in my writing. So I was so embarrassed. I was in remedial writing and remedial math with all these athletes, and I'm sitting up here, I graduated honors out of high school, and I'm sitting up here with all these cats. But that's good for me.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm just telling like a TI is, those facts.
Right.
And so I'm sitting up in here with these people, but what it did, and I'll never forget, is my professor, Miss Fuquay. And she taught me how to write. And my writing skills got better. So I looked at that, you know what? That's okay if I had to start all over again. I was ashamed about it, but it made me a better writer. And so I used to write stories as a kid, and I stopped doing all that, and, you know, I was a storyteller, you can tell. And so my writing got better, math, always there. But if I want to go to law school, you have to know how to read and write.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You have to write your exams. You read a paragraph and you have to write for 3 hours almost. Okay? And as an attorney, you got to know how to read and write. So I can say this, it is very important to start early. And parents don't need to allow these teachers to do it. Because these teachers don't have time to do the things that they are told to do. They're too busy with that LCAT. So reading was important to me. I hated school, but I tell kids all the time, just because I hated school didn't mean I had to flunk out. I didn't have to act a fool. I didn't have to give teachers problems because my dad and mama didn't play that. But I took things for granted because it wasn't impressed upon me. Because my parents thought I was doing what I was supposed to do. But it was, I took the test, and that's when I realized I needed some work. So, I mean, we need to impress on our young people to read, and I know one day, when God blesses me with my family, I'll do the same with them. But until then, I'm instilling all the young people I can to let them know you got to do this. You got to keep them, and you cannot depend on other people to keep pushing you and pushing you. Because when life starts knocking you out there, they don't care about your background. They don't care about your status. They don't care if you graduate top of the class. They don't care about any of it. They care about whether you're going to be able to produce. And if you couldn't produce in the past, you sure as heck going to be able to do it now. So.
We are members of the tour that Angie presents, and I know some of you came in a little late, so I'll introduce our tour members quickly. We enter a community and a church bringing the gospel of Jesus Christ the best way we know how. And there's no way that we can do that if folks can't read. So we look at the fundamentals. We will take a workshop like this one into a school or into a battered women's shelter or juvenile detention center, and we'll just talk. We'll just talk. Yeah, we will preach. We will dance. We have Christian rappers. It's incredible, the gifts and talents that God has allowed us to use. But what we want to put emphasis on is that the foundation is there. The Bible was written for us. If we can't read it, we still got to get it in us. We still got to get that foundation in there. So, Bertie, can you do me a favor and turn the CD player up? We have a couple of programs that we're introducing in 2016, and these programs are for authors as well. Sometimes you will write a book, and nobody's going to read it from here to there. But we can turn your book into a CD and let somebody hear it. That foundation still has to get in there. Our Christian authors now have their books on CD, so that they can hear the word the way it was given to that author. If you look at the screen on the laptop, that is me reading my book. We've still got visual kids that ain't gonna read a book, but they'll sit down and watch. They'll sit down and watch you read your book. And if we can get them excited about that, by the time we put the book in their hands, they will read along with us. So this is just a little bit of the CD version of my book. And the significance of it, oh yeah, you turn the CD up. The significance of having your book in different formats is that you've got a powerful word. Just because somebody can't read it don't mean they can't benefit from it. Just like
I'd like to thank Jackie
for
saving my life
to drop out.
And thank you for remaining.
So we're going to listen to this for a little bit, and we're going to introduce the rest of the members of the
I so appreciate my daughters, Angelyn and Jackie. It is so unfair that you had to grow up with an ill mother. But I pray that all we went through will strengthen you both as you grow older. I love you both. Thank you to my sisters. Sonia, you were always there when I needed someone to talk to, and you still are. You are my mini hero. Tanya, you will never know how good it was to come home every year you sent for me. You helped to save me. Now, please pass the sweet potatoes. Daddy, I love you. I really, really do. Tears roll down my face. I just can't say enough about how much I love you. Graham, you opened my eyes so much. I was not alone. You know what I went through, but you would not let me go. I want to be a strong woman just like you. And now, can we go to Buddy's Pizza? Grandmama, if nobody else knows how to pray for me, I know that you do. If nobody else knows how to pick up a Bible, you do. I know that I'll be okay because I have you in my life. To my ministry families at the Lighthouse Citadel of Truth, Reconciliation Christian Center, and the Glorious Church of Christ, each of you imparted something special in me that I still have to this day. Oh my God, thank you. I'm grateful for each of you. To Susie, Felicia, Bridget, Dawn, Cora Miles Jefferson, the members of the One Accord DJ Alliance, and the Higher Ground International Record Pool. To the Jericho Broadcast Network and to others that knew me and prayed for me. Thank you to each of you. My children, I thank you that you prayed for their mother, and the small child in me still feels unworthy of your intercession. I appreciate each of you. Be blessed.
The book just finished with all the introduction, and then it goes into talking about my third suicide attempt. The name of my book is Last Week I Wanted to Die, and it pretty much talks about how my then husband inadequately dealt with my mental illness. It talks about how my then pastor kept me in a domestically violent marriage for much longer than I should have been. It talked about how my daughters dealt with having a suicidal mother, to the point where my youngest did not graduate high school on time because of excessive absences. She didn't want to leave for school and come home and find me dead. And so the book is like Charlene talks about, it's just little. It's just little enough for you to stick in your purse and maybe hand it to somebody that's having issues. Mental illness doesn't just come because you're fat, because somebody beating on you, because you think you're ugly, you're too skinny, you're too... Mental illness is an inherited disease.
Yes, it is.
And it wasn't until after my third attempt that my grandmother sat me down and actually said, your mama had this, my mama had that, now my daughters know what to look out for. On my first date with my husband, and we've been married 2 years, our very first date, wasn't it? I told him, I'm crazy. I'm just straight up. I got major depression, and I got uncontrolled generalized anxiety disorder. I can smile 1 minute and messed up the next, and it's okay. You ain't hurt my feelings. If you walk out the door, just let me know so I can put the lock on the door behind you. And he looked at me and said, well, what do I do if you have an attack? And I said, okay, Lord. All right. Now let me show you what I look like without all this makeup on. Let me show you. So, to stand before you now is only by the grace of God. And every member of the tour knows I am a handful to work with. Lord Jesus. Oh, my God. And so, will the members of the tour please stand, and y'all give them a big round of applause for putting that in. baby. Thank you.
You gonna be all right? I'll be all right. I can handle it.
He'll be all right. He'll be all right. But you know, major depression, mental illness, PTSD, generalized anxiety disorder, everything can be managed and lived with, just like you can live with nappy hair, just like you can live with no hair, just like you can live with diabetes, high blood pressure, medication, counseling, prayer. Thank you, Jesus, for prayer. Can get you through it as long as you know what your symptoms are. Everybody who knows somebody with sugar know what your symptoms is. When you commence to shaking, you got to get you something to eat. Okay? So if we can read up on those symptoms and learn how to manage those symptoms, then we can teach somebody else. And that's the importance of ministry. We have all learned through the grace of God, because He let me survive 3 suicide attempts. I had somebody real close to my husband say, 3 suicide attempts? What happened? You ain't know what to do the first 2 times? Thank you, Chester. You know I love you, Chester. But the point of it is God will get you through to where you're supposed to be if you listen to Him first. Whether you can read, whether you can write, whether you can add, whether you know how to cook, whatever. You just have to be receptive to what He's trying to tell you. If He can't tell it to you in His Word, which is the Bible, He will tell it to you on a CD, an audio CD. So officers, if you ain't got it on a CD, please talk to us. We can do it for you. Because somebody can go, oh man, I like your book cover, and it's just going to stay in their cabinet. They're not going to read it. And you're going to be wondering, did they read my book? Did they like it? No, they didn't read it. So give it to them on a CD. Take the kids the DVD. How many kids are looking at the Disney Channel and Cartoon Network, and what are they seeing? What are they seeing? I just spent 2 weeks with a 3-year-old. What is she looking at? So, okay, I finally told her, let's look at this over here, and let's make the Word so important that they've got to get it into them any way they can. So, we travel. If you'd like the tour to come to your community, we can bring a wonderful R&B concert featuring my husband, Barty. We can also bring Movies Under the Stars, which is an outdoor event that features movies and with chairs and blankets, and we watch movies outside. We will bring the Moms of Ministry, which is what you guys experienced over here. Moms sharing their testimonies about how they taught kids to read. The dads on duty, right over there, talking about how they learn to read, how they talk. We have our teen workshop called Can You Hear Me? I'm Hurting. It deals with teens that are dealing with bullying, sexual abuse. That's a whole nother conversation that we don't really want to have with our kids, and it affects them in school. We're also talking with them about mental illness. Kids today are just as crazy as I am today. And we looking at them like, oh, it's a phase, or they'll outgrow it. Are we reading up on what their symptoms are? My youngest daughter called me about a year ago and said, Mom, I think I got adult attention disorder. I said, well, how do you know? And she said, I knew what my symptoms were, and I started Googling, and I got 9 out of the 10 symptoms. Wow. That's the same way her sister diagnosed major depression in me. She walked in the room and she said, Mom, you know that commercial with the little pill bouncing around, the little blue pill and all that? Well, I went and looked it up, and that's you, Mom. So reading can save your life. Reading can help you figure out what's wrong with you. What's wrong with her? Hey, baby. Because my husband has looked up mental illness since our first date. I've gotten real good at recognizing that woman got bipolar. That man over there, we gonna stand on this side of the room. We ain't going to that church because that's some schizophrenia going on over there. You just recognize the thing, and let's just continue reading. Now, what I want to be able to do now is let you guys meet some of our vendors that are here today. Antoinette just did a wonderful job introducing us to her 3D fiber lashes and her product. Antoinette's a cancer survivor, y'all. And Antoinette is so special to us because she comes out and supports us no matter what the topic is. We talk about mothering, fathering. She just loves people. And that's why we love Antoinette. So I want Antoinette, you come on over here, and I want y'all to learn about this. I want authors and people that think they want to be an author to come over and meet Charlene, and she moseys over to her area. It's one thing to write. We were hearing earlier about these run-on sentences. It's one thing to write, but you need somebody to edit it. So that then someone else will want to read it. And so that's what Charlene does, and it's powerful.
There's so many stumbling blocks when you start reading books, it's going to stop you from wanting to read.
Right. And we have dealt with authors that, this book is our baby. So we don't want nobody to mess with the baby. So then the editor comes in, changes things, and no, just put it back the way it was. And that's exactly what happens to read it. You don't want to read it. Well, like Mother was saying, we got to blame the teachers and the parents for not teaching the kids. Because now the parents are saying to the teachers, oh, you can't be talking to my child in your kind of way. And the teachers don't want to be bothered because they don't know karate, right?
All they know is karate.
So, we just gonna, I tell you, it's an incredible thing. So we are wrapping up for today. Please stop by our vendors. Please stop by and get a free gift. We got my book on CD that's free for each of you. And let everybody know that you got a chance to stop by the tour that Angie presents. On the second Saturday of every month, we are at the Gardens of Daytona with Belinda McMillian. We bring a workshop to them once a month, either moms or dads or authors, or every month we're there because we believe in. Miss Belinda she'll tell you when you go back to see her. And then the third weekend of the month, we're at other properties here in Daytona. But when you talk about going into the school to volunteer, come into some of the apartment complexes and help volunteer. Because sometimes we need background clearances to go to a school. We got to do blood work, a credit report. We got to get up in the church. We go to the school. So come on over to some of these communities that we can help out there. Okay? So everybody, thank you very much. And meet somebody before you.